NTV, turning on your world.
Program Guide.
Tonight on NTV.
What's it about?
El Chamuco. Did that land belong to Tiger Suarez?
I don't understand how a so-called doctor can be so stupid. Do you not understand what the word discreet?
Tonight on NTV.
My car service is due. Where do I go and what do I do? These and many more questions are in the car owner's mind. Car service is one of the most important activities every car owner needs to participate in. Daily Monitor and Shell Helix invite you to the next My Car Clinic scheduled for 29th March 2014 at Shell Ntinda opposite Hardware World. The what, why, when, where and how of car servicing will be handled by our experts led by Paul Kaganzi. My Car Clinic. Sharpen your auto care skills and pamper your car better. See you there.
Street Live in association with Rehab WhatsApp. Feel it within.
Ibara lyange kusemererwa spiri ninduga food kajja Kampala kukola emirimu ekora stekanse ntalibaniza mu netuhambya ntufuna obuzibu bwingi ubundi batomire n'emirimo tekutambura kurungi sente zokulya ninzihamu n'ezokusasula enju ninzihamu but sente zinkuba ninyenda kufuna tinkwifuna.
Rehab WhatsApp. Feel it within.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here.
What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week?
I say they're shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell.
At what price?
More. Much, much more.
I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
NTV, turning on your world.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to NTV at ONE. Let's begin with a look at the headlines. The police blame the opposition for failing to notify them about their upcountry rallies well in advance. The chairman of the Uganda National Examinations Board says he will go with whatever decision the education minister comes up with regarding his fate. And a UN agency donates equipment to police officers in Moroto district to help them fight sexual and gender-based violence. Once again, a warm welcome. I am Joel Kamadi. The police spokesperson Judith Nabakova says the opposition leaders and civil society activists who were recently blocked from holding rallies in eastern Uganda are to blame for failing to follow the procedures in the Public Order Management Act. Nabakova was speaking at a press briefing at the Central Police Station in Kampala.
You may be aware that similar meetings organized by some organizers were held in Mbale and Masaka before those in Soroti and Mbale were to be held. The question that needs to be answered, therefore, is why the meetings in Mbarara were appropriately convened and those in Soroti and Mbale not held. The answer is simple. The police in Mbarara were informed. The police in Mbale and Soroti were not informed. It is not known why the organizers discriminatorily informed the police about the meetings.
What the organizers are claiming is that in respect of the meetings in Mbale and Soroti, they informed the Minister for Internal Affairs. That is a wrong procedure. That was a procedure they just came up on their own. The procedure to follow is clearly stated in Section 5 of the Public Order Management Act, which Judith has just read. It is the application must be made, or rather the notification must be made to the IGP or any other authorized officer.
The chairman of the Uganda National Examination Board, Fajil Mandi, says he will abide by whatever decision the Minister for Education comes up with regarding his position at the helm of the examination body. The chairman's comments come weeks after the Inspectorate of Government released a statement calling for his sacking for reportedly flouting UNEB's operating procedures in the recruitment of UNEB's executive secretary.
For me, I received the report because it was copied to me, it was copied to the Permanent Secretary, to His Excellency the President, to the Executive Secretary, to me. But I cannot act, and some of you have rang me up to ask me about that report. I've told you an answer. That this time I'm not going to discuss that report until I hear from my bosses. Whatever they tell me, I will obey. If the President says you are no longer chairman, very well. I'm not going to the courts of law. If the minister says we repeat the process of the executive secretary, we shall do that. So I am a law-abiding citizen. I'll wait for further instructions from where the letter was addressed. I think you appreciate that. Okay? Then about the question of executive secretary, the situation is still as it is, that the contract was extended to 17th April. That's what the board did with the approval of the minister. And that's what is standing. The rest will be dealt with as other things emerge. And I think that's all. Yeah, somebody says if I left, supposing I died today, don't you think the country would miss something? Would I just die off the surface like that? I think I'm a very important person in this country. I'm an expert. And I have a history of good performance. I am among the top performers in this country. That's why I've remained. I was and I am and I'm remaining. That's why a lot of you call me to interview me. For what? Because I'm a hopeless punk? No. Because I am. And I would like you journalists to appreciate people who do work. Thank you.
All right. A UN agency that focuses on gender equality has handed over an assortment of equipment to police officers in Moroto district to help build their capacity in handling cases of sexual and gender-based violence in the region. Moroto district in Karamoja region is reported to have a high incidence of domestic violence.
Ending violence against women remains a key challenge, which needs a collective effort so as to achieve the target and the goal. In common, we are sexual, physical violence, women interest, violence against children, which is early marriage. It's a common practice.
The UN women have been doing a lot for this Mount Moroto region. As the DPC Moroto has earlier on mentioned, because we had some trainings of the personnel. Now again today we are receiving very important equipments. All these equipments that we have received today will serve the purpose of their being delivered to police.
UN Women has had a long-term partnership with the police. We've been providing training, we've been supporting the family and children unit, and we're very much, very encouraged by the progress. We're now helping them to develop a gender policy that will make sure the new unit that has been set up to addressing the gender-specific issues that the police women are facing are addressed. We hope.
And the gentlemen who are here to know that.
Now, over 100 billion shillings meant for the development of mini hydropower plants across the country still requires comprehensive feasibility studies by the private sector. The funds from development partners are expected to scale up the current 34% penetration of grid power. The Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company is currently managing the financing advanced by a host of donors led by the Dutch Oreo Fund and the World Bank.
The main objective, our main mandate, is to provide financial, technical, and other support to financial institutions and to project developers that are undertaking projects. For the financial institutions, we are in place to build capacity of the financial institutions so that they can be able to lend more for energy projects. And we do that by way of skills transfer events and also through the provision of credit enhancement instruments that can be able to address the real or perceived risks that are associated with investing in these projects, which the financial institutions are not willing to take or want to share.
Let's take a break, but NTV at ONE continues shortly.
Sunlight adds fabric conditioners to washing powder to give you Sunlight 2-in-1 for sensational cleaning and fragrance that lasts and lasts and lasts. Sunlight 2-in-1, sensational cleaning and all-day fragrance.
Power theft can not only cause destruction of properties and power outages, but can also lead to death.
This is today's Umeme outage report. To improve supply stability, maintenance was carried out in the following areas today.
Speak up and report power theft. It's a crime and affects everyone. Let's unite against power theft and save lives.
Running out of airtime can happen to anyone. The next time you recharge, simply dial *161# to get going again.
on the next episode.
On the tires before ascending the wicked slope. Competitors next have to descend the zigzag decline and survive the swinging logs. Then they face the spring-loaded pogo posts, the stairs, and finally, the log roll that leads to the finish line. The racer who completes the entire course in the fastest time will be walking tall.
On the next episode.
At Orange, we know that running out of airtime can happen to anyone. That's why we bring you Wetase. Simply dial *161# to get going again. Convenience changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Welcome back. A number of people in Uganda have been made to pay for minor accidents in which they have been deemed to be in the wrong despite having a third-party policy. Well, insurers assert that this happens because of ignorance, because that policy is supposed to cover you in such circumstances.
You must be familiar with some road accident cases where the person deemed to be in the wrong immediately digs into his pocket to sort out his victims amicably, despite having a third-party policy. Well, insurers assert that this happens because of ignorance, because that policy is supposed to cover you in such circumstances. But first, what is third-party insurance?
The term third party arises from three parties involved. The first party is the owner of the car. The second party is the insurance company willing to shield the first party, who is the owner of the vehicle, from both bodily injuries and death he may inflict on other road users.
Beyond the small little accidents, it would be prudent to know whether it covers death.
Third party covers death, bodily injuries. Bodily injuries, here we come in even in terms of meeting the medical expenses. So death is covered. And when you look at the statutory third party, in this case, you are looking at maximum 1 million.
But can 1 million shillings sufficiently compensate a life? Maybe that's a topic for another day, but there are options for one to expand this cover.
For cases of comprehensive, we have enhanced that. In fact, the minimum you can get for under a comprehensive cover is 5 million for bodily injuries and death per person, and then maximum for in aggregate at any one time, that is 50 million, and then there is also the third-party property damage, which goes up to 10 million.
We have some insurance companies, I have talked to them through the associations, who are making it a bit difficult for claimants to get their compensation. Albeit small, it is small.
So how does one go about seeking compensation if an accident has occurred?
As far as insurance is concerned, we are just asking you to go there and prove that that particular accident happened. Okay, that is one. Then in the event that somebody have injured somebody, ideally would they request you to assist that person seek the medical attention. Let it be first aid to stabilize the person, and then from there any money which you would have incurred will be reimbursed to you at the time of when the claim has been logged in. We would also need a copy of the driving license to prove that that person is legally allowed to be on the road, in addition to completing a claim form and premium having been paid.
According to police, where policyholders are supposed to report in case of accidents, there's a bit of laxity by insurance firms to educate their clients on what to do in case of accidents.
The insurance companies have not educated motorists and road users of how to get these claims. They have not. They only come to the place when they are changing stickers or they are increasing their fees. They increased recently.
Now, the U.S. mission in Kampala has issued a statement refuting media reports about cutting aid to Uganda's health services, agriculture, democracy and governance. The media reports about aid cuts started coming in after President Museveni enacted the anti-homosexuality law last month at State House in NTV. The US government immediately wrote to President Museveni, informing him that it would review its relationship with Uganda over the law. Now you can get this story in our subsequent bulletin in the later course of the day. Moving on to the international sports scene, Alex Hales became the first England player to score a 2020 century as they pulled off a memorable 6-wicket win over Sri Lanka in World 2020 Group 1 in Chittagong. While in motorsport, Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg beat Ferrari's Kimi Raikkonen to set the fastest time in second practice at the Malaysian Grand Prix. Hales, who made an unbeaten 116 off 64 balls, hit a 6 to bring up his 100 and hammered another to wrap up victory with 4 balls to spare. Earlier, Mahela Jayawarden struck 89 off 51 deliveries in Sri Lanka's 189 for 4. It looked to be a target beyond England's reach when they lost Michael Lamb and Moeen Ali without scoring in the first over, but Hales produced an astonishing display of hitting to steer England to their first victory of the tournament following a weather-affected loss to New Zealand in their opening game. England remained fourth in the 5-team group, having played 1 game fewer than the top 2, Sri Lanka and South Africa, with matches against the Proteas and the Netherlands to come. In motorsport, Red Bull Sebastian Vettel was third as the fastest 3 cars were split by just 0.061 seconds. Rosberg's teammate Lewis Hamilton was fourth from Ferrari's Fernando Alonso, both of them within 0.2 seconds of Rosberg. Williams' Felipe Massa was sixth from Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo and McLaren's Jenson Button. The second Williams of Valtteri Bottas and Force India's Nico Hülkenberg completed the top 10 from Toro Rosso's Jean-Eric Vergne and McLaren's Kevin Magnussen. Rosberg was just 0.035 seconds quicker than Raikkonen, while Vettel's lap was impressive as it came on the second lap on the faster medium tires. And that wraps up NTV at 1. But coming up is David Lumansi and Isma Dakabachigongo with Omomoli Gwemizanyo. Good afternoon.